The Selai, the dawning of Kriya. In the boundless emptiness before time was measured, there lay an endless chasm of possibility, a swirling ocean of chaos, unbound and ever-changing. From this ineffable void, the first spark of creation ignited the Alatic cosmos. It is said that in the silent depths of the primordial night, the great breath of eons stirred, and with it emerged the Ancient. In that first breath, there was the whisper of destiny, a promise that within chaos lay the seeds of all life. As the celestial winds scattered stardust across the infinite darkness, the nascent deities gathered their strength to mold the formless void into realms of beauty and terror. Thus, the world of Alatic was born, a land where rugged mountains reached for the heavens and deep enchanted forests mew. The first act of creation was the crafting of the firmament. Celian, the supreme sky father, stretched his luminous arms across the void, spinning galaxies from the shimmer of his eyes. His voice, deep and resonant as the echo of creation itself, summoned forth constellations that danced upon the celestial dome. With each note of his cosmic hymn, radiant beams of starlight fell upon beneath the vast expanse of the heavens. Arathor, the Earth Mother, wove the tapestry of land and life. Her gentle hands sculpted vast valleys, soaring peaks, and meandering rivers that sang their ancient lullabies to the sleeping soil. In her care, the earth blossomed into myriad forms, mighty oaks and delicate wildflowers, creatures both wondrous and strange, each a living testament to in the radiant light of creation. The gods of Alatic emerged as custodians of the natural order and enforcers of cosmic balance. Each deity embodied a sacred element of existence, ruling over the spheres of life with wisdom both enigmatic and absolute. Foremost among them was Celian, the Sky Father, whose piercing gaze and commanding presence held dominion over the heavens. With his flowing silver hair and robes woven of starlight, he was the eternal guardian of the celestial vault. His mighty voice, which once echoed in the void, now thundered Acre. Beside him stood Arathor, the nurturing Earth Mother, whose gentle touch gave rise to the lush landscapes of Alatic. Her eyes, deep as the ancient forests, saw every living soul, and her compassion complementing the divine pair was Pyronus, the Lord of Flame, whose fiery spirit ignited the passions of both creation and destruction. His countenance was ever-changing, a reflection of the volatile nature of fire itself, and his temper was as fierce as the raging infernos that occasionally swept across the barren lands. Yet, Pyronus was not solely a harbinger of ruin. His flames warmed the hearts of Lunaria, the moon mistress, bathed the night in a soft, otherworldly glow. With her silken hair that shimmered like the surface of a dark lake, she ruled over dreams and the mysteries hidden in the nocturnal hours. Her whispers stirred the hearts of those who dared to wander under the stars, filling them with visions of worlds yet to be born and memories of lives long. Together with lesser deities and spirits, the guardians of rivers, winds, and hidden glens, the pantheon wove the intricate patterns of fate. Their interactions, as delicate and profound as the interplay of light and shadow, laid the groundwork for a world where destiny was. 3. Beneath the watchful eyes of the gods, the first mortals emerged from the fertile embrace of Arathor's creation, fashioned from clay and infused with the divine spark of life. These early beings were endowed with both brilliance and frailty. They were the children of earth and stardust, a living bridge between the eternal real. Among these nascent souls was a child born under a rare celestial alignment, a convergence of Celian's light, Lunaria's mystery, and the smouldering fire of Pyronus. This child, named Ilorian, was destined to become a hero of legendary renown. From his earliest moments, signs of his extraordinary nature were evident. The spark in his eyes glowed with an inner fire, and his footsteps resonated with the echo of ancient drums. Ilorian grew amidst the rugged highlands and sprawling forests of Alatic, where myths and legends were as tangible as the morning mist. His childhood was spent in the gentle tutelage of wise elders and the whisper of ancient trees. It was said that the wind itself would carry tales of his future, a destiny intertwined with the very fabric of creation. As Ilorian matured, he became a seeker of wisdom and a brave adventurer. His heart, both tender and fierce, was stirred by the voices of the past, urging him to uncover the mysteries that lay hidden in the heart of the ancient land. With the blessing of the gods and the guidance of a weathered oracle, he embarked on a journey that would lead him through enchanted forests, over treacherous mountains, and into realms where the divine touched the mortal plane. 4. The prophecy of the shattered stars. In the sacred halls of an ancient stone temple, its walls etched with the timeless runes of Alatic, an oracle revealed a prophecy that would forever alter the course of history. The divine seer, whose eyes gleamed with the light of eternal knowledge, foretold of a time when the stars themselves would fracture, and a darkness older than time would descend upon the world. The prophecy spoke of a cataclysmic event, when the shattered stars weep upon the earth and the celestial veil rends in sorrow. A mortal born of divine flame shall rise to mend the broken tapestry of fate. Yet, in his ascent, the cost shall be dear, a sacrifice of the self for the salvation of Alatic. This dire vision reverberated through every corner of the realm. The celestial alignments began to shift, and the heavens trembled under the weight of an impending doom. Rumors of strange omens spread among the people, animals behaving unnaturally, the rivers running red with a mystic light, and the skies darkened by an unseen menace. For Ilorian, these signs were a clarion call, a summons from destiny that could no longer be ignored. Despite the uncertainty and peril, he accepted the mantle of his foretold destiny. His heart, resilient yet tender, recognized that his journey was not solely his own, it was the path laid out by the ancient gods. The very fate of the world entwined with his own. The gathering of the tribes. As word of the prophecy spread, the disparate mortal tribes of Alatic began to converge. These clans, each with their own ancient customs and storied histories, had long dwelled in isolation. Now, drawn by the inexorable pull of destiny, they united under a common banner. In the great valley of Serenth, where the fertile soil met the vast, open skies, leaders from every tribe assembled. They debated the meaning of the omen and the proper response to the gathering darkness. Some urged caution, while others advocated for bold, decisive action. Yet, all recognized the singular truth: the ancient world was on the cusp of transformation. At the heart of this assembly, Ilorian emerged as both a symbol and a leader. His presence, illuminated by an inner brilliance that seemed to channel the very essence of the divine, inspired awe and reverence. As he spoke of unity, of the need to stand together against the rising darkness, his words resonated like a clarion call, a promise that even in the face of cosmic despair, hope might yet be found. Under Ilorian's guidance, the tribes forged an alliance steeped in ancient rites and renewed honor. They pledged to safeguard their lands, their cultures, and the fragile balance between mortal life and divine power. In rituals performed beneath the light of the full moon, they invoked the blessings of Celian, Arathor, Pyronus, and Lunaria, beseeching them to lend their strength to the mortal cause. The descent of the shadow. As the mortal alliance solidified, the skies darkened with an ominous portent. From the void between the stars, a sinister force began to stir, a primordial shadow, forgotten even by the oldest of gods. This ancient being, known in whispered lore as Nefarian, was the embodiment of the chaos that had once given birth to creation. Banished eons ago by the unified might of the Pantheon, Nefarian had lingered in exile, biding its time in the depths of the cosmic abyss. Now, as the shattered stars wept tears of celestial sorrow, Nefarian emerged from the darkness, a manifestation of malice and despair. Its form was indescribable, a shifting mass of inky darkness, fringed with tendrils that flickered with a cold, malevolent light. Where it tread, life withered, and even the heavens recoiled in silent horror. The news of Nefarian's return spread swiftly among the allied tribes, priests and seers, their voices trembling with fear and resolve. proclaimed that the coming darkness was the fulfillment of the ancient prophecy. The heavens themselves seemed to mourn, as if the very fabric of creation quivered in anticipation of the inevitable conflict. Ilorion, burdened with the weight of destiny, knew that the time for idle debate had passed. The mortal realm, despite its fragile unity, now faced a threat that transcended human endeavor. It was a threat that called for the intervention of both mortal valor and divine might, a battle that would decide the fate of all creation. 7. The March to the Celestial Rift. Under a sky heavy with sorrow flomens, Ilorion led his united forces towards the fabled Celestial Rift, a chasm in the fabric of the world said to be the very gateway between the realms of light and darkness. Legends whispered that at the heart of the rift lay the source of cosmic power, a relic of the time when gods themselves were young. The journey was fraught with peril. Along the winding trails of ancient mountains, the allied warriors encountered spectral beasts born of nightmares, and shadowed figures that slithered in the twilight between worlds. Every step was a test of resolve, every breath a challenge against the encroaching despair. In the deepest forests of Alatic, where the trees spoke in cryptic tongues and the wind carried the lament of the past, Ilorion and his companions found sanctuary in an ancient grove. Here, beneath the watchful gaze of colossal stone sentinels carved by the long-forgotten hands of time, the seers of the tribe performed sacred rites. They invoked the blessings of Lunaria to reveal hidden truths and the protective grace of Arathor to fortify their spirits. One elder, her voice both fragile and unwavering, recounted a legend. In the time of our ancestors, when the stars were whole, a hero of divine fire arose. His journey through the mists of fate led him to the Celestial Rift, where the light of creation clashed with the void. It was there that destiny was forged anew. And though the hero was lost to mortal sight, his spirit endures in every heart that dares to defy the darkness. The words stirred Ilorion's soul. He realized that his quest was not only to confront the looming threat but also to unlock the mysteries of his own heritage, a destiny interwoven with the luminous tapestry of the gods themselves. With renewed determination, the united host resumed their march, their hearts alight with the hope that even in the deepest shadow, the spark of creation would prevail. 8. The confrontation at twilight. At last, the allied forces reached the outskirts of the Celestial Rift. The landscape around them transformed into a realm of eerie beauty, a twilight world suspended between the radiant glow of the gods and the encroaching gloom of the void. Here, the very air shimmered with latent energy, and every rock and river pulsed with the rhythm of an ancient, cosmic heartbeat. It was in this liminal space that Nefarion's dark legions made their presence known. From the fissures of the rift, grotesque creatures, mutated shadows and malformed spirits, emerged in swarms. Their eyes glowed with malefic intent, and their forms, ever shifting and insubstantial, seemed to mock the very concept of life. The allied warriors, though outnumbered and facing a force that defied mortal comprehension, held their ground. Ilorion, his heart ablaze with divine fire, raised his sword, a blade forged in the sacred fires of Pyronus and quenched in the crystalline waters of Arathor. With a voice that resonated with the authority of both mortal resolve and divine will, he challenged the darkness. We are the children of light. We stand as the last bastion between creation and oblivion. Come forth, shadow, and face the fury of our united souls. A battle of cosmic proportions ensued. The clash between light and darkness was not merely physical but echoed in the realms of spirit and destiny. Bolts of searing flame danced alongside tendrils of inky blackness, and the very ground trembled under the force of the divine conflict. Amidst the tumult, Ilorion fought with the grace and ferocity of one possessed by a higher calling, his every strike imbued with the legacy of his celestial ancestors. In the midst of the fray, the gods themselves lent their power. Celion's radiance burst forth from the heavens, his starlight scattering the shadows in radiant arcs. Arathor's gentle power rose from the earth, her healing energies mending wounds and fortifying the spirits of the warriors. Even Lunaria, from her silent vigil above, cast a protective luminescence that wove a shield around the brave souls who dared defy the encroaching void. Yet, for all the divine intervention and mortal valor, the darkness proved relentless. Nefarian, the ancient harbinger of chaos, advanced with inexorable might. Its amorphous form seeped into every crevice, threatening to extinguish the light that had long sustained the realm of Alatic. 9. The sacrifice of the divine flame. As the battle reached its zenith, the celestial balance teetered on the brink of collapse. In a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, Ilorian found himself face to face with Nefarian, a confrontation that was both the culmination of his destiny and the ultimate test of his resolve. Before him loomed the embodiment of primordial darkness, its presence a void that swallowed hope and extinguished even the faintest glimmer of light. In that fateful instant, Ilorian recalled the prophecy etched into the annals of time, the foretelling of a sacrifice that would mend the shattered tapestry of fate. He knew that the path to salvation demanded a price beyond mortal reckoning. With a voice that trembled with both sorrow and resolute determination, Ilorian spoke, "For the sake of Alatic, for every life that dances in the light of creation, I offer myself as the vessel of divine flame. Let the sacrifice of my mortal coil kindle a beacon that shall banish the darkness and restore the cosmic balance." In that heart-stopping moment, the sky itself seemed to weep as Celian and Lunaria looked on with sorrowful eyes. And even Pyronis's raging fire flickered in solemn tribute. Ilorian drew upon every shard of his inner brilliance, channeling the radiant energy of the gods and the unyielding spirit of mortal hope. His very being became a conflagration of light, a singular, brilliant flare amid the all-consuming gloom. As he charged forward, his sword alight with celestial fire, the clash between light and darkness intensified to a crescendo. With one final, defiant cry, Ilorian struck at the heart of Nefarian. The impact sent shockwaves rippling across the cosmos, as if the very fabric of creation trembled under the weight of his sacrifice. In that instant, the ancient darkness recoiled, its tendrils of despair unraveling before the pure brilliance of the divine flame. For a heartbeat, time stood still. The battlefield, bathed in an ethereal glow, bore witness to a miracle, the union of mortal sacrifice and divine providence. Nefarian's dark form began to dissipate, vanishing into the void from which it had emerged. Yet, with the fading of the malignant presence, Ilorian's light also began to wane. His mortal form, now a vessel emptied of life, sank slowly to the ancient earth. The Ascension and the New Dawn. As the echoes of battle subsided, a profound silence fell upon the land of Alatic, a silence filled with both grief and hope. The allied tribes, battered yet unbowed, knelt in reverence before the fallen hero. They knew that in his final act, Ilorian had not perished but had transcended the mortal realm, his essence merging with the divine forces that sustained the world. In the aftermath of the cataclysmic conflict, the gods themselves gathered to honor the sacrifice. Celian, his eyes filled with celestial sorrow, decreed that the light of Ilorian would not fade into oblivion but would instead be reborn as a beacon of hope for all time. Under his command, the radiant spark within the fallen hero ascended to the heavens, becoming a new star, a shining testament to the eternal struggle between light and darkness. The tribes of Alatic, once divided by ancient enmities, now found strength in unity. In the memory of Ilorian's sacrifice, they built grand monuments and sang epic ballads that celebrated his bravery and the promise of a brighter future. Rituals were enacted under the full moon, and the sacred groves of Arathor became places of pilgrimage where mortal souls sought solace and renewal. In time, the scars of battle healed, and a new age emerged from the twilight of despair, a golden era in which the lessons of sacrifice, unity, and divine purpose were etched into the hearts of all who dwelled in Alatic. The legacy of the ancient hero and the gods who had shaped the destiny of the world became a living myth, whispered on the winds and inscribed in the stars. 11. The eternal song of Alatic. Even as centuries passed and the mortal realm evolved beyond the age of gods and heroes, the memory of that fateful era endured. In quiet moments beneath starlit skies, elders recounted the tale of the celestial chronicle, a story of creation, conflict, and the luminous sacrifice that had restored balance to a world teetering on the edge of oblivion. It was said that the soul of Ilorian now shone in the night sky as a solitary star, a constant reminder that even in the deepest darkness, the light of hope could be rekindled. His legend inspired generations to embrace courage in the face of overwhelming odds, to seek unity in times of strife, and to honor the eternal cycle of creation and renewal. And so, the tale of the Alatic era became an everlasting hymn, a mythic ballad sung by the wind and the rivers, by the rustling leaves of ancient forests and the shimmering glow of celestial bodies. It was a song of life and sacrifice, of divine love and mortal valor, resonating across the ages as a beacon to all who dared to dream. In every new dawn that broke over the land, in every star that twinkled in the vast expanse of night, the spirit of Ilorian and the legacy of that ancient age lived on. The celestial chronicle of Alatic reminded all beings, divine and mortal alike, that even in the face of cosmic darkness, the light of hope would forever shine, guiding the future toward a destiny filled with wonder and promise. 12. Epilogue, the promise of tomorrow. In the twilight of that ancient era, as the divine and the mortal realms settled into a newfound harmony, a subtle transformation took root. The gods, moved by the selfless act of mortal sacrifice, began to weave the essence of that divine flame into the very fabric of nature. The winds carried whispers of ancient promise, and the earth itself bore the indelible mark of the heroic past. The prophecy of the shattered stars had been fulfilled not through destruction but through the rebirth of creation, a powerful reminder that in every end lies the seed of a new beginning. The unity forged in the crucible of darkness became the foundation upon which future generations would build their hopes and dreams. The once divided tribes of Alatic evolved into a people bound by a common legacy, a legacy of courage, sacrifice, and the everlasting power of the divine light. Even as new legends arose and old gods retreated into the mists of myth, the story of that ancient hero endured, a timeless narrative of how one mortal, guided by the call of destiny and the blessings of the divine, reshaped the cosmos in an act of luminous defiance. The celestial chronicle of Alatic became more than a memory, it transformed into a guiding star for all who wandered the labyrinth of life. A reminder that the eternal song of creation was composed not only by the gods but also by the hearts of those who dared to fight for the light. Thus, as the ages rolled on and the cycles of life continued their relentless march, the people of Alatic found solace in the knowledge that their world, born of chaos, nurtured by the divine, and tempered by mortal resolve, was a living myth, ever in the making. And in that myth, every soul was a note in the grand symphony of existence, each life a verse in the eternal ballad that celebrated the beauty of creation, the strength of unity, and the enduring power of hope. The celestial chronicle of Alatic is a tale woven with the threads of destiny and sacrifice, a mythic saga that spans the realms of gods and mortals, capturing the essence of an age when the cosmos itself was forged in fire and light. As you reflect upon this epic narrative, may you find inspiration in the courage of Ilorian and the timeless promise that even in the darkest of hours, the divine spark of hope will forever illuminate the path toward a new dawn.